Welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be blindly choosing my fall season TBR list from my shelf of wrapped unread books. So the books selected in this video will be the books I will be reading in September, October, and November. But first, let's recap. In my previous blind TBR video, I chose 7 books to read this past summer. Poor Dear, Vanessa Jared's Got a Man, Delicious Monsters, Clara and the Sun, Allegedly, The Blue Castle, and Parable of the Sawyer. Out of the 7 titles, I managed to read 4 books on this list. The Blue Castle, Parable of the Sawyer, Clara and the Sun, and Delicious Monsters. I also read some books that were not on the TBR list, and those were Death of an Author and The Teacher. I'm still working on / haven't started Poor Dear, Vanessa Jared's Got a Man, Allegedly, and Thunderhead. But we're moving on to a new TBR list, so those books will have to be finished when my soul calls for them. And I promise, I've written the scripts for both my spring and summer reading recaps. I just have to record and edit the videos, so I'll try to get those uploaded and published as soon as possible. I have been reading some really amazing books this year, and I can't wait to tell you about them. Anywho, so I kept the books I chose from last time wrapped and added a few more. Each wrapped book is numbered. In the little jar are pieces of paper numbered to match the book. I pull a paper, read the number, unwrap the book, and that's what I'll be reading this fall. Completely random and so much fun. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And be sure to check out the other content in my bookish playlist. The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. Abby wants a baby more than anything, but after years of failed infertility treatments and adoptions that have fallen through, it seems like motherhood is not in her future. That is, until her personal assistant, Monica, makes a generous offer to serve as a surrogate. It's an offer that will make all of Abby's dreams come true. But soon, strange things start happening, and it turns out Monica isn't who she says she is. The woman now carrying Abby's child has an unspeakable secret, and she will stop at nothing to get what she wants. This will be my 4th Frida book. I've read The Housemaid, The Boyfriend, and The Teacher. I was about to pick up The Tenant, but when I saw this one, I knew it would probably be wild given Frida's style. I genuinely enjoy her books. Are they all masterpieces? No, but I like her imagination. It always keeps me hooked, and I end up having a decent time every time I read. Little Monsters, Kara Thomas. Casey is the new girl in Broken Falls, and she can't believe how nice everyone has been to her. She's even become part of a tight new circle of friends. Bailey and Jade invite her to do everything with them, which is why it's so odd that they go to the biggest party of the year without her. But Casey will never be able to ask why, because Bailey never makes it home from that party. Suddenly, Broken Falls doesn't seem so welcoming, especially once everyone starts looking to the new girl for answers. Casey is about to learn some very important lessons. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving, and sometimes when you're the new girl, you shouldn't trust anyone. This feels like a mystery, possibly a thriller. I saw Little Monsters being compared to the TV show Pretty Little Liars, which sounds like an interesting concept. I didn't truly watch that show, but I was present during the watch party since every girl in my dorm back then liked to meet up and watch it together. So I look forward to it. 40 by Alan Heathcock. In a future America ravaged by natural disaster, pandemic, and political unrest, a fundamentalist faction emerges. As the Nove Terre gain power, enticing civilians with bread and circuses, a civil war breaks out between its members and the U.S. government. Mazzie Goodwin, a young soldier, wants only to find her little sister, Ava Lynn. One day she wakes up in a bomb crater to find wings have sprouted from her back. Has she died? Been given wings by God? Undergone a military experiment? The world sees a miracle. Mazzie is coaxed into seeing it as an opportunity to become the angel-like figurehead of a revolution in return for being reunited with her sister. Her journey leads to New Los Angeles, where the Nove have set up headquarters for their propaganda machine, right in the ruins of Hollywood. Aided by friends old and new, she must navigate a web of deceit while staying true to herself. This book is obviously dystopian, and it immediately reminded me of Parable the Sawyer. They even take place in the same city. After finishing that book, I had to switch genres and read The Blue Castle, and now I'm reading Anne of Green Gables, mostly because Parable left me so stressed out. With everything happening in my country right now, it's hard for me to enjoy dystopian literature the way I used to. Where I once read it as a warning, I now see it as a possibility. 40 definitely gives me that same impression. It does sound interesting and I want to read the story, but I'll probably keep a fairy tale or something light on hand to balance things out. The Long Walk, Stephen King, writing as Richard Bachman. Against the wishes of his mother, 16-year-old Ray Garrity is about to compete in the annual grueling match of stamina and wits, known as the Long Walk. 100 boys must keep a steady pace for 4 miles per hour without ever stopping, with the winner being awarded the prize, anything he wants for the rest of his life. But as part of this national tournament that sweeps through a dystopian America year after year, there are some harsh rules that Garrity and 99 others must adhere to in order to beat out the rest. There is no finish line. The winner is the last man standing. Contestants cannot receive any outside aid whatsoever. Slow down under the speed limit and you're given a warning. 3 warnings and you're out of the game. Permanently. Not gonna lie, I put at least 5 little slips of paper with this book's number on them in the jar because I was determined to read it right away. Definitely before the movie comes out next month. The other day I went to the theater, I saw Weapons, loved it. And during the previews, I saw the trailer for The Long Walk. It struck me as both tragic and fascinating, so I immediately bought the book after the movie. I'm glad this book doesn't look too long, especially for Stephen King since his books run pretty thick. From the trailer and the blurb alone, I can already tell this is going to be brutal. And somehow I've added yet another dystopian novel to my list. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but here we are. So I pulled a little slip of paper which I wrote trade on, and that was basically to save myself. If there was a book I didn't feel like reading at the moment, I could switch it out with any of my wrapped books. And since it's my rules, my game, I decided to switch out Little Monsters. Little Monsters sounds cute, it sounds interesting, I do like it, but there's something kind of pre-teenish about it. It might be a young adult book, but something about it is childish. So I'm gonna put that on the back burner for now and choose another book. And I admit there was a very specific book I was looking for and I was trying to remember which one of these rap books it was. Spoiler alert, I did select it. The Reformatory by Tananarive. 12-year-old Robbie Stevens Jr. is sentenced to 6 months at the Gracetown School for Boys, an institution, for kicking the son of the largest landowner in town in defense of his older sister Gloria. So begins Robbie's journey further into the terrors of the Jim Crow South and the very real horror of the school they call the Reformatory. Robbie has a talent for seeing ghosts, or haints, but what was once a comfort to him after the loss of his mother has become a window into the truth of what happens at the Reformatory. Boys forced to work to remediate their so-called crimes have gone missing, but the haints Robbie sees hint at worse things. Through his friends, Redbone and Blue, Robbie is learning not just the rules, but how to survive. Meanwhile, Gloria is rallying every family member and connection in Florida to find a way to get Robbie out before it's too late. I am so excited to dive into this book, and I plan to start it on October 1st. It feels like the perfect spooky season read. The blurb instantly reminded me of Delicious Monsters, with its haunted architecture and main characters seeing ghosts. The Jim Crow backdrop is tough for me personally, and I usually avoid books set in this era because the horror isn't just fiction. It's real, and it hits close to home. But as someone who loves horror, I'm pushing myself to read it anyway. The fact that it combines supernatural terror with such a horrific period in history makes me think this is going to be a powerful and unforgettable reading experience. Probably Ruby by Lisa Bird Wilson. This is the story of a woman in search of herself in every sense. When we first meet Ruby, a Métis woman in her 30s, her life is spinning out of control. She's angling to sleep with her counselor while also rekindling an old relationship she knows will only bring her more heartache. But as we soon learn, Ruby's story is far more complex than ever she can imagine. Given up for adoption as an infant, Ruby is raised by a white couple who understand little of her indigenous heritage. This is the great mystery that hovers over Ruby's life, who her people are, and how to reconcile what is missing. As the novel spans time and multiple points of view, we meet the people connected to Ruby, her birth parents and grandparents, her adopted parents, the men and women Ruby has been romantically involved with, a beloved uncle, and Ruby's children. Taking together these characters from a kaleidoscope of stories, giving Ruby's life dignity and meaning. Although I could be wrong, this is probably the least traumatizing book on my list. And I'm honestly glad for that. I love stories about women in their 30s, and this one even reminds me a little of The Blue Castle. I'm glad I picked it up because I can already see it being the perfect book to slip in between the heavier titles on my TBR, whether horror, dystopian, or psychological thrillers, to give my mind a bit of a break. And that wraps up my TBR list for the fall season. With 6 books, plus the ones I'm already reading and the carryovers from my summer TBR, I think I've got more than enough to keep me busy through December. I'm really happy with my picks. They lean heavily towards dystopian and psychological thrillers, which makes sense since those are my favorite genres. The only thing I'm a little bummed about is not pulling any manga this time. But overall, I'm satisfied. I'll share updates and reviews of these in my fall reading wrap-up. And yes, I haven't forgotten, I still owe you my spring and summer reading recaps, so I'll try to make time to upload those soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Feel free to leave me some book recommendations in the comments, and be sure to check out my bookish playlist here on YouTube. I will see you guys later. Bye!